You said you healed. So why are you still reacting like you are in survival mode? Why do you still overthink decisions, shut down in conversations, or tolerate things you said you'd never accept again? That's not healing. That's a pattern. I'm your host, Edna White, and this is Keeping It Real, where we stop performing healing and we start interrupting what's actually running your life. Today's
Mm.
conversation is going to challenge you because we normalize saying I'm healed while still producing the same behavior, the same results, and the same cycles. And in my world, we break it down differently. Today's guest is none other, and I can say her name really right. It's so easy. Brooke Deanne. Right? Is that
Deanne.
right?
It's okay.
No, I always do that. Say, see, I thought I had a handle, and I didn't ask you.
It's all
Brooke
good.
Dean today is going to break it all down for us. She works with women who survive narcissistic abuse, high controlled environments, and complex trauma. But let me be clear, this is not about staying in that soft, comfortable place because she's going to tell us all about it. I am really excited to have her on because she is our first narcissistic, am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Therapist? Okay, you are. And I'm so excited for you to be here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Edna, for having me here. I'm excited to have this conversation and really just help people to see. I will tell you this. I feel like everybody has somebody in their life that has toxic patterns that
Yeah,
we kind of just kind of put up with.
yeah, yeah, we do. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking about your name now, Deanne. Well, that's a nice name, though. I know a friend that had her first name was Deanna.
Oh,
See?
beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful name. So let's get right to it. People say they've done the work, they've gone
Mhm.
to therapy, they read the books, their behaviors are not saying that. Let's talk about that. What are the people confusing or understanding about this type of trauma that they actually are not healing?
Um, I think that for a lot of people, and this is also that was part of my story, is like thinking that like I could find some quick fix and
Yes,
that I could do all of the things and then all of a sudden I would just be done. I'd be healed. I'd be like there would be no more pain. There'd be no more discomfort. Like I got it done, right?
yes,
And of course, we're humans, right? We're like,
right,
how can we get comfortable real fast?
right,
That's
right,
what we want. We want to get
right,
comfortable, right? It's why
right.
we fall into the traps that we do, our coping
Mhm.
mechanisms, right? Whatever that looks like for you, everybody has a coping mechanism. It could be a positive coping mechanism. A lot of people choose negative ones, right? That's where we
Right,
get the drugs, the
right.
alcohol, the shopaholics in the world, like all of those things. But
Food, don't forget
recognizing that
food, don't forget food.
oh, yeah,
Don't
food.
forget-
Food's a huge one, right? Food is a huge one, yeah, because what does food give us? Instant comfort. It's the cheapest, easiest way for us to get it too.
Yes,
Right? Yeah. We can go and grab a candy bar and we can feel
mhm.
way better about our emotions
Real fast.
real fast, right? But what's happening is that we're not actually really dealing with what is going on inside of our bodies.
Okay.
And so I think that's the biggest piece. And this is how I work with women now, particularly because this was part of my challenge. I was doing all of the, I'll call traditional talk therapy, the traditional like way of like working with the mind. And that's where I
Hmm.
started. I became a clinical hypnotherapist. I started just thinking that, you know what, I can get out of my pain through my mind. No, no, no. There
Right.
is another big component here, and that's through your body. The mind and the body are connected, and recognizing we often avoid and disconnect from our bodies because we live mostly up here. And for someone that survived trauma,
Mm,
has
yeah.
survived abuse, which honestly, the most of us have trauma. Okay, I don't think there's anybody on this planet that doesn't have some trauma. And recognizing that, like, if you've survived abuse, we live inside of our head. We're constantly thinking, overthinking, ruminating. We
Oh,
live inside
yeah.
of our head and we do not pay
Yeah.
attention to the signals of our body.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. And and so the most important piece I tell people is that we have to deal with what's going on in the body because the body is the beautiful part of our human intelligence. It's constantly signaling to us and sending us messages. We're just not paying attention. We're just not taking the time to listen. And that's when people get chronically ill, when autoimmune disorders show up. This is when we have back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, right? Like this is the body is like, you know what? I was trying to tell you.
Trying to tell you.
And now you didn't listen, so now you have cancer. Right?
Absolutely.
Or you have something else, or you have a heart attack, or you have this, right? Because the body was screaming at you for your attention, but you were not paying attention. You didn't care. You kept drinking the alcohol. You kept doing the bad diet. You kept the high stress job, like whatever it is that you are the pattern that you're in.
You kept doing it.
Right? You kept the abusive relationship, whatever it is, right? You kept doing it and thinking you had to hold on. And the body's the only way and the best way to understand what do I need next. When you start to listen to that and start to heal the body, you just start to recognize, oh, my body's trying to tell me something here, and I have to sit here and be present. And it's a daily practice. It's a consistent practice. I do it myself with even all the work I've done on myself. But I teach women how to somatically express emotion through their body and start to actually get really in tune with the body, because that's when we get in tune with our intuition. Yeah. And we can really start to pay attention. Who's good for me? Who's not good for me? We start to learn discernment. And that is key in women that have been abused.
Yeah. And I think that piece that you just said is we avoid sometimes because we had this friend for a long time. Or we know the mother and the father, or we're in these groups like sororities, fraternities, and we stay in these groups, and you feel like you're weird. Because I've been in a group, like I feel the weirdest one. I'm the weirdest one. What's going on? But because I'm so used to it, I stayed in it. Right?
Yes. Yeah, because you just don't know anything different. You just don't really pay attention. I had recently, I always like to talk about it because it's not just romantic relationships, right? We can be in toxic cycles, and family can abuse us, right? And it doesn't always look like physical abuse or verbal abuse. Abuse is when someone creates a cycle of one-sided relationship, right? And then they're like, they want you to show up for them, but then they can't show up for you.
Right. Yeah.
Right. That's that toxic pattern of staying in whatever relationship that looks like. And they're draining their energy vampires, and they're going to just take all they can get, and they're not going to give back to you. And so it's like, but we hold on to people because we're afraid of loss.
Right. Right. Exactly. We don't want to deal with that part of it. And, and when you're in these groups, your body, I mean, I'm telling you, my body was telling me, I don't belong here. Like, it was speaking to me, like, I would go in, like, one of the groups I was in was a church group. And I would literally, my eye would start twitching. It's like, it's serious. It was like, why is this just happening here? Because it was so toxic, but I was so used to it. And your body operates sometimes in autopilot. It just goes. It just, okay, get in the car, go to church. Get in the car, go to church. And you don't think about it. And then you look up and I used to look up and I said, how did I get here? I don't remember how I was like, what I was doing. It was so methodical. It was crazy. Right?
Yeah. And it became your habit. It was your habit. Right?
Yeah, it became my habit. And I couldn't even tell you what I saw on the way going to church. I just know I got there, parked. And I was like,
interesting. Yeah. That's you being in a hypnotic, brainwave. And the subconscious just takes over and gets you to your destination because you've done it a million times. You don't have to pay attention, right? You don't have to pay attention. And that's really just that's proof right there to show you how we get stuck in our patterns.
Absolutely.
Because we have a habit, right? And that habit says, go and do this at this time. And so you go and do it unconsciously because it's just become your habit. So we can have, like I said, negative or positive habits, but it's also being, what's serving you, what's not serving you, and what's, when you said the group in particular, like you could feel that, I was raised I was raised in a cult. I was in that cult for 36 years of my life, broke out of that cult and recognized it was a cult, right? And you don't realize the toxicity that was really happening, all of the love bombing that was going on within that community. And it feels like, whoa, you get outside of it and you start to see things more clearly, right? You start to see what was actually really going on. And then now you know how it affected you. It's the same thing in any toxic or abusive environment. You cannot see clearly while you are in it.
Right.
The gaslighting, the manipulation,
it's over and over. It's over and over. Yeah.
Over and over, the toxic, the high and the low, the high chemical addiction that it creates in your body, all of these things, it is impossible for you to be able to see clearly. And it's why you need someone to help guide you out of it.
Exactly.
To help you. I always tell women, I pop the bubble for you. I pop the fantasy.
Right. That's good. I like that. Yeah.
Right. You're in a bubble right now. I pop that fantasy. I show you actually what is happening in real time, so that now your brain can learn to identify it when it does happen.
Yeah, that's good. I want to thank you for habit, putting a definition on habit, because definition of a habit is a repeated action done automatically. Automatically, you have no say in it. Like, you really don't, because me telling you this and we're talking about this, I didn't realize until that moment that that was what a habit was. That I was I literally was, I look up and I'm like, oh, I'm here. Like I was a genie, like blink, I'm here, But thank you so much for bringing that to light for me and for the audience, that it's a habit when you're on automatic pilot. Even if you hate your job. Now, we were talking about the cult, but if you hate your job, I've had clients that hate their job, but they get up every morning and they go, and they're like, they don't even realize what they did for the day. I said, I'll ask them, what did you have for breakfast? They wouldn't even know. Like, no, I don't even know. What did you wear? They don't even know. Like, it can't. It's like, oh, I wore a red dress. They don't even know. And it's like, because you're on autopilot, you're missing pieces of your life because you're on autopilot. You made me realize that just now.
Oh, well, I'm glad that you had that epiphany. Awesome. I love that.
Great. That's really great info. Audience, did you get it? Get it? Got it? I got it.
Yeah, now you got to just identify what are your habits, right?
Right.
What are they? Which ones are serving you and which ones are not? Right?
Yes.
And it's weird, when you're in personal development and you've been doing it for a while, you start to get so aware of your own bullshit. I hope I cuss on here.
Oh,
but
okay.
Okay, good. I'm like, you get so aware of your own bullshit. Like, I will see me doing it in my real time, and I'll be like, oh, I know better.
Right. You know better, but then you don't. It's like a therapist too. You know better, but you just bad behavior, And then, now, would you say a pattern? Because I always talk about patterns too, and I know I talk about it's unconscious, but it's also a sequence of thought, like emotions and behaviors at the same time.
That's correct.
They're all at the same time. But because one of my friends last night, we did a live on LinkedIn. She was talking about habits, and I kept saying to myself, "You're different. You're different." And oh my goodness, I am so excited about this. I am so excited. So habit, it's repeated. I'm gonna keep saying this the whole time, and it's done automatically. I love it.
Yeah.
Great. I love that. Okay, so I got to get past that now, right? So, our audience, what I'm hearing from my esteemed guest here is that this is all about processed mentally, but your body is still reacting the same. And that's a disconnection, because you know better, but you still don't do better. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. I hope you're hearing the same thing. Okay, so now we're going to get to the survival patterns, because you talk about them too, right? I want to talk about those. Can you give me like 3 ways the survival mode still shows up in your clients, even when someone says they've healed?
Yeah. So I will say, even for me,
Mhm.
survival mode will still show up. It's inevitable. It's
100%.
our default. I just want
Yeah,
everybody to know that. It is literally your
absolutely.
default. Like your brain is one main job is to keep you safe and alive.
Absolutely.
So if you're not paying attention, you're going to go back into survival mode. And I want to speak to also the fact that when you're in survival mode, we're often just, we put our head down and we do the thing.
Mm.
So, we could be struggling in life. We could be really highly stressed, but when you said you didn't even know they don't even know what they wore that day, it's that's survival mode.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
not even able to recall like events. Like you often like don't have like a very good
Right.
memory because most of your life is being lived through survival mode.
Survival
So
mode.
you're going just from one thing that you do to the next that you always have done, and it's just you're basically firing that neural pathway,
Yeah, that's
right,
it.
over and over and over
That's
and
it.
over and over and over
That's
and
it.
over again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you're not present in your daily life. And I know some people are like,
So
what
true.
does that even mean? Well, you're not really here.
Mm-mm.
You
You're not
live,
there. Mm-mm.
and that's where you often find the people that say, I'm here, but I'm like just going through the motions. I'm just going
Mhm.
through, what I know I need to do and get
Yeah.
done for the
Yeah.
day.
Mhm.
Like I recently had a client say to me, she goes, well, I know I'm supposed to be social. So I do the social thing because I know that I need to do it because it's healthy. But she goes, I'm not really there. I don't feel connected. She goes,
Right. Right.
she literally says, I feel empty. I'm just going through the motions.
Right.
That is someone, it's a key person that you can tell I am in survival.
Right.
So
Right.
you're either going to feel empty, kind of like a void, nothingness, kind of like an ultimate like hopelessness, depression, kind of like that's
Mhm.
when you're at your lowest. This is a nervous
Mhm.
system state, by the way. This is called dorsal vagal shutdown or collapse.
Okay.
Or you're going to feel like you are, the opposite, where it's like you're kind of just like, okay, I'm doing the thing, but you're also maybe you're high energy and you've got to be busy, 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 busy. You're like, you fill in your calendar, you're going, and you think like you're just
That's
getting
the
so much
worst.
done and you
Yeah.
got like all your life together, but no, you're just burning all the energy that you have until you finally, at one point, you collapse.
Oh,
Your nervous system says, I cannot hold this
done.
capacity
Yeah.
anymore. And then you go back down into dorsal vagal. You
Yep.
go into the shutdown, the collapse of your nervous system,
Yeah.
because your nervous system can't run on that energy forever.
No.
It can't.
And I think that's the faking it till you make it thing that
Yes.
we've all learned.
Yes.
Like fake it till you make it, and then I have done that when I was younger because when you survive, and I suffered
Yeah.
childhood sexual abuse, so my place to go was in my head, right, overthinking
Yeah.
or just living there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You do that throughout your life, and I'm telling you, I'm gonna go back to this. You just opened up a aha moment for me because I was just saying this the other day. Why am I missing pieces of my life?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
you just opened that up for me. It's you know, constantly being in your head. It's disassociating, disconnecting, and you're
Mm-hmm.
going through the motions because you have to survive. And
Yes.
that's so important. That I mean, audience, that is
Mhm.
like super, super important. So thank you for that. I mean, whew, that
Yeah,
makes
you're
sense.
welcome. I think that there's something to be said too, is like when you're in survival mode, you also live in a like what I call a fear consciousness
Yeah,
where everything is urgent.
yeah,
Everything is an emergency.
absolutely, absolutely.
Everything is like, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen next? And everything, something's
Mm-hmm.
going to go wrong. And so, like
Right,
you're
right.
constantly in this just like hyper vigilant
Yeah,
state
absolutely.
because
Everything.
your nervous system
Yeah,
just never has enough time to
yeah,
go back to baseline,
right,
right? So you're
right.
always here. And so one thing can happen and you're all of a sudden you're just like
Yep,
losing
that
it.
is
You're
the truth.
irritable, you're angry, you can't handle even the smallest inconvenience with the
Right,
dishwasher is not working and you're like flipping
that's
out.
correct.
Right?
That's correct.
Like that's just showing you how dysregulated your body has become And that's the
Mm-hmm.
body signal to say, hey, I need some support here.
Yep.
Like I need some rest. I need
Mm-hmm.
some, like, can you come back to this present moment? Can you take a
Right.
freaking breath?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Yep.
right?
Yep.
Like, and that's just the body kind of speaking to you. And we just
Mm-hmm.
don't realize it because, one, we're not taught these things in schools.
No.
We're not taught these things by the generations before us. They didn't
Right.
even have a clue that it even existed, right?
Right. Right.
So we are evolving as human beings and we're
Mm-hmm.
starting to see what no longer works. We're
Mm-hmm.
actually starting to break old patterns, old generational patterns, old
Mm-hmm.
generational trauma, and we're
Right.
starting to crack it from the what used to be is no longer, because we can't sustain ourselves
Mm-hmm.
going forward. We cannot sustain the generations that are going to, go forward with this,
Yeah.
because we can't live like this
No, we
anymore.
can't. We can't.
So we're all learning in real time
Oh yeah.
as
Oh
we
yeah.
see
And that's the
how.
best time. That's the best time.
Yeah, for sure. We're all learning, right? And we are, wow, boy, are we learning, like we're seeing
Mm-hmm.
things evolve in the political scene and, the social scene, about, being able to see all
Yeah.
of these things, like, kind of being exposed, but
Yeah.
also seeing, okay, where is harm? Where is abuse? Where is,
Right.
religious systems harmed people? People kind of
Yeah.
waking up to this reality, people waking up to the fact that
Yeah.
they've even been in abuse, because we're starting to see and expose what is actual harm, what is
Right.
actual abuse. Now we have the language to articulate it. Before, it was just kind of normal. Oh, women are
Right.
going to get suppressed.
Right.
Women are going to get abused.
Right.
Oh, you can forgive them, a million times because the Bible
Right.
says to.
Right. Exactly. The Bible
Yeah.
says too.
Mm-hmm.
And then they
Yeah.
they lump together forgive and forget. That's highly impossible.
Yes.
Highly impossible.
Yes.
And it's not supposed to be, because you have to learn the lesson from it. You
Mm-hmm.
forget, you're gonna experience that same thing over and
Yeah.
over and over again. But it's highly improbable that you're gonna forget. And that would always confuse me. One of those things. It's like,
Same.
how
Yeah.
do you do that? Like, and why would I give this guy or this woman or anybody, a perpetrator that did something to me? Why would I give him a break? Why would I
Yeah.
give him a break?
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't
That has
care.
been
Well,
that has been, like, infiltrated to us, right? Like, for me,
yeah,
that messaging was big in religion, and it was
yeah,
like, "Forgive and forget, forgive and forget."
yeah.
And I'm like
70 times 70. Like,
yeah,
what?
I'm all like, "I don't think they were talking about people that, like, beat people up and,
Really?
like, did, like,
They're
real
right.
harm." Yeah,
Right,
this
right.
is it's just, again, something that was taken way too far to an
Oh, yeah.
extreme,
Oh, yeah.
and,
It was all connected to control us, because
for
that's
sure.
all
Yeah,
of us are controlled by that.
yeah.
It was
If we're
so
abusing each other,
right.
right? If we're
Right.
abusing each other and we're in survival mode, we are easier to control
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
we can't see clearly.
Exactly.
We're just surviving. We just got our head down. We're
All
just
of us,
trying to make
yeah,
money.
all
We're
of
just,
us are gonna just follow suit. Gonna
yeah,
follow suit. Really
yeah.
true.
We
It's really true.
became zombies. We became robots at
Exactly.
that point
And,
because
and and I know you heard this in this. Um, we're led as sheep to the slaughter. You ever heard that?
yes,
Um,
yes, I have.
and I heard that. I'm telling you,
Mm,
when I heard that, immediately I saw all of us just going up to, like, the altar, and it freaked me out. And I remember when I was getting ready to leave, that was one of my visions, and I was like, "Oh, that scared me." Like, it just came out of nowhere. I saw the line of us just walking up, letting somebody touch us on the head, do anything, talk to us any kind of way, tell us things about ourselves, and I was like, "Wow." And
yeah.
my intuition, I would say to you, I always had intuition. I think we all have what we
Mhm,
call, or some call, clairs. We all have
mhm.
that, well, to us it's intuition. Let's make it plain. It's intuition. And so we used it at one point when we was young, and then somebody told us, "You're not supposed to do that."
Yes.
Yep. Even just thinking for yourself, you're not supposed to do that. Yes, we have a leader for it. They would tell you that. They would
Mhm.
honestly tell you, you're not supposed to do that. The leader tells you what to do. The leader tells you who to marry. The leader tells. it doesn't even matter. Whatever it is, the leader even tells you you can't wear certain things. You're going to a public school. You
Mhm.
can't even wear gym shorts, you know, but you look really crazy to someone, and it creates that separatism, it just created
Mhm.
that for us. And I know for you, you probably was the same thing. You had to unlearn, right? You had to
Yeah.
unlearn some things, right? You had to, yeah, me
I
too.
had to basically unlearn my whole life.
Me too. Me too, girl. Me too. From 19 all the way ahead in my 40s, I was like, I had to sit down and unlearn everything, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because you don't even know how to be an adult. You don't have
Mhm.
no idea. And that's narcissistic, to me, you know,
Mhm.
to be a leader of someone, you have to have a certain brand of, I want to say hatred for people because you
Yeah.
see their pain, but yet you're still cutting them. You're still cutting them. So that's almost, to me, I think I would say that would be narcissistic behavior. Maybe you're the specialist,
Mhm.
but it's just don't care. Like everything's about me. Everything always revolved about how they looked, that if you
Yep.
do this, this is gonna make me look bad. So you gotta be like this.
Mhm.
Everything revolved around them. So to me that was very narcissistic. But you know,
You're spot on. No, Edna, you're spot on.
yeah.
High control religion is based off of a narcissistic model,
Mm,
right? There's hierarchy, there's superiority, there
yeah.
is the leaders, and then
Yes.
especially in my religion, it was women who had to look up to the man,
Yes,
right? And she
absolutely.
was
Me too.
suppressed. She didn't get a voice. She didn't
Nope.
have any,
Nope.
value
Nope.
other than the fact that she was meant to be a wife, take care of the children,
Right.
and preach the word.
That's it.
Yeah.
And walk 5 steps
Mhm.
behind the husband.
Yes.
Come to church when you don't feel well. All of this
Mhm.
nonsense, utter nonsense. It was really nonsense. I remember when because I modeled when I was younger, and I loved it. Of course, you see, I love you see my show. I got different earrings everywhere. I loved earrings, so I was like, I don't understand why I can't wear earrings. So I put them on one day. It
Mhm.
was this big ordeal.
Mhm.
What is this? And I'm like, earrings. And I was going on about my business. And the next thing I know, we had to have emergency meeting, and I was the
Mhm.
emergency meeting.
Yeah.
That was and I was like,
And there you
wow,
go. That's
right,
them controlling how you look because they want that control. They desire that, and they will
right,
get it however they want.
right. That's
And it's sad, that a lot of
yeah,
people still exist in those systems.
yeah.
At the same time, I always tell,
I love how
I
you say
used
that.
to be I
Systems.
used to be angry about it, because I lost family to it. I got
Yeah,
shunned, leaving.
yeah,
But it
me
was
too.
more of like, okay, I see the harm that's going on, but I also see the spell they're under because I was
Yeah,
once under that spell too,
yeah, absolutely,
right?
absolutely. It's a
I was
spell.
once in that
They're
spell.
casting spells
Mhm,
every day over those
mhm.
people,
Yeah.
over us. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm like, "You wanna talk about witchcraft?" I'm like, "That
There
looks
you
like
go. There you go. There you go.
that looks like a
They
rose."
talked about what did they call witchcraft was, astrology.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I would
Mm,
say to them, well, didn't the three wise men find Jesus by a star?
exactly,
They could
right?
not,
So,
they
obviously,
could not
we've been
say
looking at the
anything about
stars
that. They were
forever.
like, right. So how does astrology not work? How did you didn't come in this world with a clock, a watch or something. They had to tell
Exactly.
time by the stars. And then
Mhm.
the beautiful thing about it is astrology is in us. Our nervous system is nothing but the stars
Mm.
all through our body. It's not our nervous system. So I just love how this world shows us what's going on with us. We got all the way off, girl. I know we got to
We
talk
did.
about stuff.
We did,
We
yeah.
did.
It's important to talk about, like, we
Oh
were
yeah,
talking really about that narcissistic
yeah,
dynamic within
yeah,
religion, right? And just seeing how it shows up in all kinds of systems,
yes, yes.
right? It's showing up in all kinds of systems. It's like, you know, even when I left that cult, I also saw how
Hmm.
they conditioned us to really have us, like, to think that we were superior to other people.
Yeah, right, right.
because we had the truth.
That's right.
When we
I
were
broke
old.
my arm, girl. No, I had it. Girl, what are you talking about? I
That's
had
right.
it. And
That's
we're
right.
two different places.
Yes, I'm God's chosen. I'm God's
Yes,
chosen.
yes.
And
We
it's
were the
like,
ones. Yes.
yes, it's like, it's kind of like, wow. But that's
Yes.
what makes people want to be a part of the society,
Yeah.
right? Oh, I'm special.
Yeah.
So this is the beautiful thing. I don't know if you've ever studied Tony Robbins' work before, but I mean, he talks about the 7 human needs.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
the 7 human needs, well, one of them is significance.
Yeah.
So we're wired to get significance, however we can find it.
Yeah.
So we will do
Absolutely.
this not even knowing that we are doing this. And
Absolutely.
so sometimes we can find, like, we can do it in our everyday, right? Like maybe we're gossiping about Betty Joe because
Yep.
Betty Joe did X, Y, and Z, and we feel
Right.
better than
Yep.
her by
Yep.
judging her, right? We're getting
Yes.
our significance that way.
Right.
And then if we so we're just seeing how it can play out in just small little things, but we will do that unconsciously.
Yeah.
And so what better ploy than, this all came full circle, a narcissist, whether that's in a relationship, a family member, a friend, a boss, or a religious leader,
Yeah.
what are they going to do? They're going to make you feel special.
Yes. It worked. 30, what was it, 29 years it worked. And then for
Yeah,
you, 37, it worked.
because, oh my gosh,
It
if I'm
worked.
special, then I better obey.
And it was,
Yeah.
it was amazing how that was, because what we're talking about, you work with women coming out of narcissistic abuse and high control environments. I work with the same type, but I'm going back to kind of get those people there and feeling those pains, preacher's kid syndrome. Oh gosh, that's a whole another area,
Yes.
but just being in that traumatized, women were, we were made to dress less than them. And in my religion, where I was, not my religion, but where I was in the cultish, we were told to dress down. We didn't dress, everything was plain and chaste for us, but then we're glamorous and glamorous and big, but we were supposed to be chaste. Okay. Whatever that meant. And we couldn't look modest. They used the word modest. So ugly meant modest to them because everything they told you to wear was ugly. So from your point of view, what does that actually do to women's identities? We know what it did, but I want you to tell the audience, audience.
Well, it's self-erasure. They lose their identity. They don't have an identity outside of that, right? They don't have an identity. And because what happens in those type of environments is, one minute you're chosen and special, but the next minute when you've, disobeyed, or when you've pissed off that abuser, or when for that moment, you're discarded, you're abandoned, you're rejected.
Yes.
Or you could be destroyed by God, right? Like whatever system.
God is going to get you. God is going to get you. God is going to get you.
So one minute you're chosen and special, and then the next minute you were like completely discarded, and you're like, wait, what the hell? Like your whole identity is like, you have, that's what we call the trauma bond, right? This is the trauma. This is the intermittent reinforcement. One minute you are love bombed, you're treated like a freaking queen, you're like given all the gifts, you're like, oh, blah blah blah, and then the next, everything's gone.
Yeah.
They've withdrawn their love, and that's a trauma bond in God. When one minute you have a God that says I love you, and the next minute, oh, you disobeyed, and now God's love's not there anymore.
Exactly.
Like it is, that was the God that I grew up knowing. That was the relationship that I was in. That was the father that I had. One minute I had his love, the next I didn't.
It's over.
So it's like when you have those dynamics, it's like you don't have an identity other than the fact that you're like, I have to be who I need to be in order to be loved and accepted, and I have to suppress who I really am. Because I can't be her. It's not safe.
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
That's good. So now we have left, let's say we've left the situation.
Hmm.
But what happens with us is we're second guessing, right? And I
Yeah.
know somebody out in the audience, we're second guessing ourselves because we're adulting. Like, so when we were in that bubble, we didn't experience relationships because those were controlled. We
Yeah.
didn't experience socialization because that was controlled. We didn't experience money, jobs, anything like that, because all those things were controlled. So now we're really in the world now. Once we leave, we're in this world, and we have no idea how to speak to anybody. We have no clue, right? No clue. So we're still asking questions like, I know maybe it came to you, but am I really too much? Because that's what oh, you're just too much.
Mm.
You're the black sheep of the family. You're out in left field somewhere. They said that to me all the time when I would ask questions that they had no answers for.
Mm.
Spiritual questions that they had no answers for,
Yeah.
or I was wrong.
Mm.
And then the biggest one was, should I just shrink and be quiet? And I noticed when I got out of it, I would be around people I'm not worthy to be around them because I don't have a bachelor's degree or I don't have this or I don't have, and I was making all these things. So I'd shrink and I'd be just there. And I can't even tell you again, you opened my eyes to this. I was just going through the motions, being with people because I needed to socialize until I woke up and said, hey, this is not socialization. I'm not getting no connections with these people.
Mm.
I want connections because like you said earlier about Tony Robbins, we all need that validation somewhere. We need
Yeah.
it. We
Yeah.
need that.
We need
So
connection. Yeah.
we need the connections. We're here for it. We got 2 hands and 2 feet, 2 ears. Okay, eyes. Connection. That's
Yeah.
connection. So here's a question I want you to answer for me. How did we outsource our identity and start owning our decisions? How did we
Mhm.
stop? I'm sorry, how did we stop outsourcing? How
Mm.
would we?
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful question.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was learning how to become a sovereign woman. And when I say sovereign,
Mm,
it's not like, don't think of it in a religious form.
please don't.
Being sovereign, actually, what that definition actually means when you look it up is being a self-led individual
Mm,
that makes her own decisions,
yes.
decides by her own
Yeah.
emotions. She outsources nothing. She
Right.
doesn't need anybody's
Right.
approval.
Right.
She doesn't
Right.
need anybody's acceptance.
Yeah.
She just needs her own.
Mm-hmm.
And so she makes moves, she makes decisions, and she decides things in her life solely based on her own intuition, her
Mm-hmm.
own sovereignty,
Well, that's
knowing
great.
that she can trust herself because she knows how to lead herself.
That's great. That's really
And
cool.
and that's you. I mean, that's really honestly learning how to one, create boundaries with people, to stop listening to all the noise, to stop listening to all the noise. To know that no one gets to make any decisions about your life.
Mm.
It's just you.
So, Brooke,
Just you.
that is so real.
Yeah.
That's no fluff, no
Mhm.
pretending. That is
No.
no surface level answers. I love it. Guys, if you're listening right now and recognizing yourself, this is the moment to take charge. Be
Yeah.
sovereign. Be sovereign. Because
Mhm.
awareness is not enough without the action. I know I went through it. I know probably Brooke did too. Um,
Yes.
it's just another pattern because we see women that I got all the answers, but I'm not doing nothing with it. No
Yeah.
action. You know,
Yeah.
you heard the story. So audience, just don't talk about it. Do it. Brooke, how can we find you? You're
Mm.
gonna come back because this was not enough.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Actually, what I want to just really quickly speak to is any woman that's on here. Um, when we're talking about patterns, right? I really have identified with all of the women I've ever worked with that when they get stuck in relationships that don't serve them, the little girl, the inner child in them is actually leading their life, not the sovereign woman.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild when we kind of look at that love pattern, that love template. I actually created a quiz. So for you to understand how you actually receive and earn love, or how you think you need to get love. And when you identify that, you start to see your pattern and how that shows up for you. So I'm going to give you that quiz so you can put it here in the show notes, because it's pretty, it's wild. It's really interesting, but they can find me on that quiz, and they can also find me at brookedeanne.com. That's my website. And then I'm on all their socials, so they can dive into my world.
You cannot not find somebody these days. So if you're ready to stop reacting and start making clear, aligned, powerful decisions, go down under this video after you like and subscribe and share it, and find Brooke's quiz, and then book them on your next moves, power strategy. Let's do it. Everything is under the video. We'll see you next time on Keeping It Real on Purpose. Bye for now.